Hello once again, everyone, and welcome back to Tales of... Well, it's not called that. That's the name of the subreddit. This is Neckbeard Stories with Moonhorse. I'm Moonhorse. Hi. This is the biggest mistake I've ever made. From Reddit user Verything Time. It took me a minute to read that. I'm sorry. So let me tell you about the neckbeard I dated. So we sort of met in English class, and we had to go around the room and introduce ourselves with an interesting fact. He introduced himself as, "Hey, what's up? My name's John Doe." After a few weeks later, he interrupts a conversation I was having with a friend before class. I remembered him and asked if he was John Doe. He said, "Yeah, well, why don't we meet up and talk?" He seemed like a pretty nice guy that I might want to be friends with, so I agreed. I show up and wait, and he never showed up. I walked up to him the next Monday and asked him what was up, and he's like, "Oh, I was there. I guess we just didn't see each other." So we hung out that night. Immediately, he mentions his ex, who broke up with him sophomore year of high school, and then made several unwanted references to his dick. He even made several offhand comments about how he was impressed that I would eat a burger in front of him because girls are always too afraid to eat. I later found out that he intentionally stood me up Friday because if you didn't say anything about me standing you up, then you're not the kind of lady I want to be out with. I should have ended things right there. I didn't. Let me paint you a picture. This man is over 300 pounds, a total weeb obsessed with Dragon Ball, has his hair parted down the middle, and rarely wears anything other than sweatpants or pajama pants and ratty tank tops with holes. For some reason, he even wore those pedophile glasses like Napoleon Dynamite. I'm not one to judge by appearance, but should have tipped me off. By the way, I'm not generally attracted to men, so I figured I might eventually grow to like him because he seemed kind of funny and nice. Turns out that he was just maniacally clever and manipulative. I'm kind of a nerd, so I like being around fellow nerdy people. And our friend group soon grew around us, so it was impossible not to become close to him as a friend. I mean, we're in the same LARP club, should have been a clue, and the same crew that I gamed in the lobby. A few more things, however, should have tipped me off about his character, though. He would brag about how he could control and manipulate people, and was absolutely proud of how we had become friends because it was somehow so clever of him to test me and stand me up like that. He would talk about how he'd gotten into bar fights, or how he slipped drugs to a friend, and he would frequently tell the story of how he mailed boxes of dildos to his principal in high school because she, quote, needed to loosen up. Gross. He then began to manipulate and play games with my friends, getting them to do things that they wouldn't do normally, all the while bragging to me about it. He'd also make really sexist comments about females, and would also make the occasional racist comment too. Classy. He would call women petty bitches, yet for some reason would fall back on the fact that most of his friends were women when confronted about his blaring sexism. Fast forward a few months, and he'd been trying to manipulate me into dating him. I really only wanted to be friends, but he wanted more. He kept withholding information, questions I'd ask when the group was hanging out, etc., saying, "I'll tell you if you date me." He changed our names to Mr. Wifey and Mrs. Hubby in the chat group that we were in. Finally, he manipulated me into saying "I love you," which then he replied, "Now you'll be my girlfriend, right?" In context, I was saying "I love you" to my fellow girlfriends, and without thinking, turned to him and said it in the same way that I meant for my other friends. I was so overwhelmed and didn't know what to say. This guy had wedged himself in there as one of my best friends, and I'm a clingy bitch with codependent tendencies. And I absolutely did not want to hurt him. So I said, yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be good friends with your significant other, right? He immediately forced me to hold his hand and cuddle with him, and I didn't know how to say no. I had already been platonically snuggled up to my friends the night while watching movies, and he said it was the same, and that we should because it would make him happy, and, we're dating now. He decided to propose 2 weeks into our relationship, even though we'd never gone on a single date. I was extremely uncomfortable, but kind of laughed it off. He ended up proposing 3 more times that day, much to my discomfort. He even called me his waifu. Ugh. He'd make extremely off-colored comments that clearly objectified me. Oh, fuck this guy. We ended up dating for about 1.5 years, part of that being long distance. Part of me didn't have the heart to break it off. Part of me was deluding myself into thinking that this could work out because we're friends. Let me remind you, this guy is highly manipulative. I am extremely manipulatable. I am extremely manipulable. I don't know if I said that right, because I can't fucking speak. I don't know. He started telling people at work that he was engaged, and would constantly call me his fiancé to his friends. I never said yes to any of this. I finally decided to get a job at a camp near his house for the summer to spend time with him. I stayed at his parents' over one weekend in his bedroom. He slept elsewhere on the couch. He instructed me to sleep on top of one of the blankets. First of all, he doesn't use sheets on his bed, and his bed was suspiciously stained and nasty. Ew. I asked to borrow his computer to do some preparation for the next semester. He eyed me suspiciously and said, "Don't look at my browser history." I'm just kidding. You won't find anything. The first thing that popped up as I went to look for a link for student loans was Hentai Monster Girl, Porn Big Tits, XXX. I thought, okay, gross. It could be a fluke. I went to check his history and damn. The computer was used almost exclusively for porn. The first thing I realized was that this was disgusting. The second thing that I realized is that I could check the timeline of this porn. Every time he had gone to the bathroom, every time I was not looking or talking with someone else during our date, he was looking at porn. Even at church, when he'd supposedly been helping the children's ministry. I then began to realize how often he jerked off around in my presence, and how I'd been so very oblivious. Then I discovered I could see his current phone history, as in what he was currently looking at. It was nasty, kinky stuff that I don't have the vocabulary to explain. He was messaging me from the other room and jerking off to it. I confronted him the next morning, and he claimed it was his brother's Chrome account. I showed him proof that it was on his phone at that moment, and he was looking at it in front of his cousins and younger siblings. He was quiet, took my hand, and then blamed me for finding out and said, "It's okay, we'll get through this." I don't know why I was so gullible or why I stayed for so long. It took forever to get out of his control. And he took advantage of me in many ways, so yeah. Wow. What a fucking dick. I'm really glad you got out of that relationship. Nobody needs to be... Look, I don't give a fuck what kind of porn you look at. That's all on you. I don't give a shit. As long as it ain't, like, something illegal and creepy, like kid stuff. In which case, that's fucking horrible. You all know my opinion on pedophiles. Just two to the back of the head. Anyway. No, I don't have a problem with, I don't think you should be looking at it in places that he was looking at it, but, what your taste in pornography is entirely up to you. The manipulative part, on the other hand, that's a fucking bitch move. That is just really shitty. It's a fucking asshole thing to do, especially to somebody you claim you care about. This guy's a fucking prick. I'm really glad that that Very Thing Time, the person who wrote this, I'm really hoping I'm saying your name right and everything. I'm glad you're not in that relationship anymore. You deserve better than that. Don't stick around with toxic people. You gotta learn how to cut toxic people out of your life. Otherwise, they'll just monopolize your time, and they just, they're really shitty, and they ruin everything. Hey, what the fuck? I mean, what the fuck? Seriously, just... Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This was interesting. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And if you'd like me to read anything that you have, or, pictures, or whatever the fuck you want to send me, send it to my subreddit at r/Moonhorse Stories. I check it every day. And if you'd like to contribute to this show, I have a Patreon, and I'm also selling t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, whatever the fuck. All of these things are in the links below in the description. And thank you again for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye!